Hi guys, so this is how I made my vinyl holder. I'm going to do a smaller version for you today. So I started with a piece of canvas fabric. I have a piece of cardboard, which I'm doing smaller, not as big as my original. Some elastic, utility knife, marker. I have this little tool here that holds the elastic to feed it through the fabric and the cardboard. This is just a piece of t-shirt to make the holder, and of course your ruler. So next, you want to make sure that your fabric is a little bit bigger than your cardboard. Now you can cover this with anything that you'd like. I used the canvas because I felt it was stronger. So I'm going to take this canvas, it's so hard to do this with one hand, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sleeve to put the cardboard into using my sewing machine. So now I've measured this all around, and I'm going to sew this side on a 5/8 seam allowance, and I'm going to sew this edge as close as I can to the bottom of the fabric. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to flip it inside out. We want to leave the one end open because we need to slide the cardboard in there, and we need the top here for hanging. I'm going to show you two ways to do hanging a little bit later on. And as you can see here, I'm going to be sewing this again on the 5/8 seam allowance. Now I stitched this whole side here. I just turned the fabric in the machine, and now I'm going to go right to the edge of the presser foot for the bottom seam, and I still will have enough fabric up at the top for hanging. So our fabric is stitched on this side, and this is open so that we can slip in the cardboard. Right now I'm going to cut as close to the stitching as possible so we don't have any bulkiness. And we're going to clip the edges so that we can turn the corners out properly. Okay, and as you can see, this is the bottom edge once it's cut. And the side, I'll try to get into the light for you. So there you have that. Now what I'm going to do is flip this inside out and insert the cardboard. Okay, so now we have our little sack, as I call it. We want to give this a little press down. So that's what it'll look like, nice and finished. There's your seam. If you could see it, sorry, the lighting in here is so bad. Okay, and I poked out those corners with the edge of the scissor, trying not to go through the fabric. As you can see, the cardboard fits like a glove inside of the little sack. And now we have the cardboard inside of the sleeve, and it fits like a glove, like I said, and it's nice and snug. You could see it up there, and then I will show you what's inside. And you have plenty of fabric up here to make a hanging, anything that you want. You want to use a rope, or like I said, the fabric. I may even add grommets to this one this time. Not really sure, depending on how heavy it is. So this is about 10 inches wide. A little bit more, but roughly 10 inches. So you're going to come down every 2 inches, starting where the cardboard is. So you're going to mark down 2 inches. And if you mark this, don't worry about it because you're not going to see it because the rolls of vinyl cover it. So you're going to come down and mark just about every 2 inches. Okay? Every two, coming down the side, every 2 inches, till you get till about your very last marking that you could possibly make. So let's see where this ends up. Like I said, this one's a bit smaller than the other one. So let me just measure this one out, and I will tell you how many rolls you'll be able to get on this. Okay, so this piece of cardboard is 14 inches. So you'll be able to get 7 rolls on this one. If you start with the top, like I said, every 2 inches you come down and you make your mark. Now, you don't need to, if you don't want to, make this mark all the way at the top. Or this one at the very bottom. You can leave yourself some room so that you have a little extra cardboard for support up at the top. But I'm going to make the little mark up here, and I will start up there. Next, you're going to mark across at 2.5 and 7.5, because these are the spots where you will be running your looping down, down, down for the rolls. Okay, so I took my ruler and I brought it down, and you want to make sure you're at the top of those marks, okay? See you want to make sure you're up at the top there. So these marks down the center, let me see if you can see those. Right down the center, this is where you will be feeding your elastic through. So next we're going to take the utility knife and we're going to poke through this from the front to the back, just enough so that we can send the elastic through. So as you can see, I have the knife going through. It's so hard to videotape. I don't have a stand to hold the camera. And it just pokes right through to the back so that we have a hole, an entry and an exit. And you're going to continue this all the way down and on the opposite side as well. So for this part, I like to take a piece of elastic and double it the length of the board, because we're going to run it twice, which I will be showing you in a moment. Okay, so I fed the elastic through this little gadget that I have for sewing, or you can use anything that's easy for you to get the fabric through. And we're going to start on the back of this. We're going to find our bottom hole, which is down here. Okay, like that. And we're going to wiggle it through a little bit. It's going to be a little tough to get through the cardboard, but we're through. Don't worry about this because you can just feed it right back through again. There we go. Okay, and we're just going to follow this up and down like such. Finding the hole in the back, like that, pushing it through. The hardest part is getting my little gadget. Now, don't pull this. You need to leave this on the bottom here a little bit, okay? There we go. And we're just going to continue to loop in and out, okay, till you get to the top. Okay, so we've reached the top, and this is where we're at now. Now what we're going to do is take the elastic and run it back through to create a constant loop. Feeding this back through. And so this is what it should look like. The other side. And we're just going to keep weaving in and out of every other hole till we get to that bottom. Okay, so when you get to the end, you may want to adjust if you're using elastic, you don't have to worry about leaving excess because this really is stretchy. I'm using 1/8 of an inch of elastic. So this is the front, and doesn't have to be perfect. And that's the back. So that's one side, and we're going to repeat this on the other side. Both sides completed. Okay, like that. Now you can either leave these on the bottom, but I cut mine off. Okay, so now there you have it. You have your roll. Sorry about that, I have a 4-year-old. The roll is in place, nice and snug, not gonna go anywhere. Now, like I said, you can utilize the back if you'd like, depending on the weight. A much larger one before, as you can see, and it is quite heavy. This one, I will be adding grommets to the top and some hooks on the wall. So for the last part, this is what I have done. I have taken that fabric, I will add it into there all the way to the edge like that. And on this side as well. And I will create a seam right across the top here. Okay, right across this edge. And I'll go as close as the edge as I possibly can. And there's your finished product. This is what our hanger looks like with all 7 rolls. Now, I left some space at the top, as you can see. You can put a little sign up there. You can put the type of vinyl. That's up to you. Anyhow, I have a much smaller roll right here, which will also fit in here. Now, depending on the size of your rolls, you may be able to add even a 3rd loop right down the center if you'd like. If not, you can leave it as is. And it's really sturdy, and I think it came out pretty good. Anyhow, can't wait to see your comments. This was my very first tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.